The book of Genesis speaks of the relationship between fraternal twins Jacob and Esau, sons of Isaac and Rebekah, focusing on the older son Esau's loss of his birthright to the younger Jacob. The older son is usually given the blessing of the father in the Hebrew tradition and hence will get more wealth. Esau was favored by his dad and Jacob was favored by his mother. Esau was impulsive and did not value his birthright. So once Esau returned, famished after hunting in the forest, he asked Isaac for food. Now Isaac was very maybe intelligent in a way. He agreed to give Esau the food on one condition. He tells that if Esau hands over his birthright, then he will give him the food. Impulsive Esau agrees and is given the food. Esau's impetuous nature made him unfit for continuing the Abrahamic tradition, their patriarch's responsibilities and rewards under God's covenant. Jacob's action, though not quite honorable, shows his willingness as well as his greater intelligence and forethought. Later, when their father Isaac was on his deathbed, Rebekah overhears Isaac telling Esau, "Bring me venison and prepare a savory food, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death." So he is about to die, and before he passes away, he asks Esau to bring him some venison, some wild game, some meat. So what does Rebekah do? Rebekah, the wife of Isaac, she tells Jacob about this and gives him a nice plan. So what does Jacob do? He dresses himself up as Esau. So Esau is his hirsute, means he is quite hairy. So he wears animal skin on him and then goes to this father. He dresses himself up in Esau's best clothes and disguised himself by covering his arms in lamb skin, so that if his blind father touched him, he would think Jacob is more he would think that it's this Esau, the more hirsute brother. Jacob brought Isaac a dish of goat meat prepared by Rebekah to taste like venison. Isaac then bestowed the blessing, which confers a prophetic wish for fertility and dominion on Jacob before Esau's return. Esau is furious and vows to kill Jacob as soon as their father has died. Rebekah intervenes to save her younger son, Jacob, from being murdered by her elder son, Esau. At Rebekah's urging, Jacob flees to a distant land to work for his mother's brother, Laban. She explains to Isaac that she has sent Jacob to find a wife among her own people. Jacob wrestles with God. After years of living apart, Jacob decides to return to his home and hope to make peace with his brother. One night on the journey, he sent everyone ahead of him while he stayed behind. So he's having this self-doubt whether Esau might not accept him, even after it's been a long time, but then he fears. He's scared of his brother. So he stays back in a camp, and then when night falls, a strange man comes out of nowhere and begins to wrestle him. And they keep on wrestling throughout the night, and the man understands that Jacob is very good at this and he is not going to accept defeat. So he somehow magically dislocates Jacob's hip. Still, Jacob holds on to this stranger, and then the stranger tells Jacob that it's going to be daytime, you need to let me go, I need to return. Jacob understands that this is not an ordinary man. There's something unusual about this person. So Jacob tells him that I will not let you go unless you bless me. So the man asks, "What's your name?" So he tells Jacob. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men, and you have prevailed." This word Israel, നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യം ഇസ്രയേൽ എന്നൊക്കെ ആ വാക്കിന്റെ ഉത്ഭവം എങ്ങനെയാണ്? Israel means somebody who has struggled with God and has received the blessing of God. So Jacob is blessed and is renamed Israel. The name Israel means one who has struggled with the divine angel or God. God has forgiven Jacob's sins, past sins, and he is reborn as Israel, having overcome his fears. The symbolic wrestling match of John with Elisha is suggestive of this transformation that is going to happen to John. Yet the struggle is also colored particularly by the attraction John harbors for Elisha. Thus, its overtones are as erotic as they are religious.